Hello. Today we will be learning how to guide a lesson in Scratch. This lesson is intended for students to learn about the basic movements using sprites. When we are finished with the project, this is what it will look like. Each sprite will be able to move on its own and do its own dance move. The first block we make is going to be our blueprint for the remaining sprites. We first need to just drag the green flag down to the thing so that when we start the game, it starts acting this code. After that, we need to have it repeat forever, over and over and over, the certain code that we want inside. Inside a repeat forever block, we're going to add a wait until so that it waits until whatever we need it to do. And then we're going to go to the sensing blocks and add touching mouse pointer. So this basic block allows us to wait until it's touching the mouse pointer for us to do any of the code we want. And it will repeat it forever as long as it's touching the mouse pointer. Once we have our blueprint block, we need to establish the remainder of the stage. So go ahead and have your students add new sprites to their project. They're going to have 4 sprites for the remainder of this project. And then also have them choose a background so that they have something nice for their dance party. Once we have our blueprint block, all of the sprites and the background, it is time to drag the blueprint block to the remainder of the sprites in order to save us time later. Now it's time to begin coding our first dance move. We want to learn how to turn our sprites so it looks like he's doing a front flip followed by a back flip. Notice if we make him turn a full 360 degrees in both directions, it does nothing. This is because the code is being performed so fast that we can't see what it's doing. In order to remedy this, we need to use a repeat loop and have our sprite move in increments so that we can see the code being performed. I chose for my sprite to have a loop repeat 24 times at 15 degrees, so that after the 24th repetition, the sprite should have turned a full 360 degrees, because 24 times 15 equals 360. Challenge students to find other combinations that have the sprite turn 360 degrees. Now we're going to work on the second dance move. This first involves creating a new costume for our sprite. So when we click on costumes, we can see the ones already made for our sprite. Once we find one that is not symmetrical, we need to duplicate it by right-clicking and selecting Duplicate. Then at the top right, we see the Invert button in order to make a different costume. Now take this and have your sprite switch costumes in our code. This is done by going under Looks and finding Switch Costume. Once you have Switch Costume, make sure you have both costumes. Notice again that it will be running so fast that you can't see it. We need to use wait blocks so that our eyes can see the code. If the costume change happens too slowly, then you can always change the wait block to a decimal to make it a little bit quicker. Now we are moving on to the third dance move. This move involves moving up and down and side to side. First thing we are going to do is add 2 change Y by blocks, followed by 2 change X by blocks into our code. So that our movement is noticeable, let's have each block go positive 50 followed by negative 50, so that they end up in the same spot. Again, we encounter the same problem of the code working too fast. Now we can dig into our arsenal of tricks and solve it 2 different ways. The first way would be to introduce the wait block, like we did with the costumes, between each of the moves. The second way would be to have a loop being more incremental, like we did with the first dance move. Either way of solving this is up to the student's discretion. The final dance move is where we put all the skills we have learned together. We have learned how to turn, change costumes, move both horizontally as well as vertically, and learned ways to make the movement slower so that we can see it. At this point is when we encourage our students to use at least 2 of the skills they have learned from the previous dance moves to make something unique with their 4th sprite. After this, your student has completed their dance party project. Whenever you move the mouse on top of each character, it should perform those dance moves. I hope you have learned a lot from this brief tutorial on teaching the creation of a scratch dance party. Thank you so much for your time.